everyone, I'm Jay.
And I'm Sean.
And we watched a movie.
Yeah, as we usually do.
So it is brand new today, December 4th, 2020 on Disney Plus, and it is called Godmothered. Godmothered. So we are seeing the fairy tale from the other side, from the servant side, from the fairy godmother's side. So we meet Eleanor. In fact, June Squibb introduces us to Eleanor, who is by far the youngest of the godmothers in training school, and the only one who has applied in many, many years. Eleanor is played by Jillian Bell. She's a real go-getter. She can't wait to be a godmother. It's all she's ever dreamed of being. She's real keen in class. Even though the head mistress, Moira, played by the wonderful Jane Curtin, is really sort of lackluster. She's been serving up the same formula for success for I don't know how long, but at least as long as Cinderella is old.
Well, it's been working, hasn't it?
Well,
all of these Disney princesses have had happy endings.
Happy endings. Well, that's the thing. Easy peasy 3-step process. Number 1, glittery gown. Number 2, true love. Number 3, happily ever after. That's it, that's all. That's fairy godmothering at its most basic level. So they learn all kinds of spells to help, push these things towards each other. And there's many years yet before Eleanor would have a single hope of qualifying. Especially since the thing you need the most in order to qualify as a godmother is an on-the-job assignment. And the thing is, assignments just don't happen anymore. No one has been in the field since nobody can even remember the last time. Assignments aren't coming in because humans don't believe anymore.
Oh my.
Isn't that so sad?
It is so sad.
It's
this
so
is
sad.
An issue with our society.
Yeah. And it's not that they don't believe in fairy godmothers, because nobody does until they're visited. It's that they don't believe in happily ever after.
That's true.
Yeah, our society has advanced beyond that. Advanced might be the wrong word there. I think we've unraveled.
Yeah, we're at that point where no good things can ever be expected anymore.
No. So people don't believe in happily ever after, so they're not even asking for help with it, because what's the point? Exactly. But Eleanor, I think I told you, is a real go-getter.
You did.
So she's devastated because, in fact, the school is closing down any day now. They're going to retrain as tooth fairies.
Oh no! Which we still do believe in.
Yeah. Well, they leave money. We believe in cash, let me tell you. So June Squibb thinks the hours sound good. She's not too worried about the tooth mother and the tooth fairy gig. But Eleanor, had dreams. She never got to fairy godmother, not once, and her dreams are being crushed. And so she goes to the assignment room, desperate to find a loophole. So she does find it, because she believes. It's a letter, it's an assignment that never got fulfilled. A letter from a little girl named Mackenzie. And so Eleanor goes off-road. She is off-script, she has gone rogue, and even though she is not fully trained, she somehow does open a portal up to Earth. Her godmothering is not perfect. Things do not go exceedingly well, but she gets to Earth, and even more improbably, gets to Boston, Massachusetts, where she hardly has to look around at all because she does meet a trucker who tells her about cell phones. But she tracks down Mackenzie. Perhaps Mackenzie should think a little bit more about personal security, because a crazy lady shows up in her life and insists on godmothering her. except for Mackenzie is no longer the 10-year-old girl who is asking for help in the letter. She has since grown up. She is now a single mother. And Eleanor is a little worried that, what could a grown woman really need a godmother for? Certainly she must have it all together by now.
You'd think.
Ooh, she does not. So Mackenzie is played by Isla Fisher. And yeah, maybe there's a couple of things she could use some help with. A glittery gown is not really one of them. None of the things that Jillian Bell has really been trained on are going to help in 2020, it seems, which is unfortunate.
It is. She wasted her schooling.
Yes, she's gonna have all that debt for nothing. Okay, so weirdly, Isla Fisher, Mackenzie takes her in. They think she's a crazy homeless woman. And she is. I mean,
essentially, yes.
Yes. But she's like, well, why don't you come live with us? You're stalking me.
Let's make it easier on everyone, yeah.
In a fairy godmother costume, but come on in. And once she embeds with the family, she ends up spreading a little fairy dust around. So first we have the sort of charming comedy of the fish out of water that we have seen and really enjoyed in Enchanted. The movie
but the other way around.
Yes, Amy Adams was the princess who got mistakenly sent to Earth. And straight out of a fairy tale and couldn't believe what human women went through here. It was horrible. Still is. Now there's a fairy godmother also walking around mystified, just wondering what the heck went wrong. It also reminded me a little bit of Elf, and I guess that is the same basic formula where these magical beings from an isolated magical community get sent to Earth and have a huge culture shock because humans are not like them. And humans are not what they hoped for or were led to believe in. And so it becomes very difficult to help people who won't even help themselves. So there's a great deal of comedy there. It is not stuff you haven't seen before, but Jillian Bell is very good in this. She's sweet and charming. So the comedy hits. There's lots of good little giggles. She and Isla Fisher have some pretty good chemistry together, so they're a fun duo. No complaints there. Does the script completely skewer Disney for the fairy godmother formula? No. I mean, they're not going to bite the hand that feeds them, but they gave it a little nibble.
Like a puppy.
Well, puppies have needle sharp teeth, so... But I think that Disney is rehabbing its image. It wants to come into the 21st century and be like, we're not misogynists. They're sort of taking back the princess culture that they have created. We saw that in Frozen where the true love was between sisters, so that was really a nice change. We saw it in the Wreck-It Ralph sequel, Ralph Breaks the Internet, when all of the princesses were lounging around and Vanellope walks in on them. And yeah, they were poking fun at the tropes that they have been bound by and really just letting their hair down. And some of them have copious amounts of hair. And yeah, discussing what life is like for princesses. So I think this movie is also part of that rehabbing. You know, instead of relying on a fairy godmother to save you, to learn how to save yourself a little bit, which is, I mean, no complaints from me. That is not a bad thing. It is maybe a little overdue, but I will not complain that it is finally here. So I think director Sharon Maguire does a good job. It's not maybe quite as good as Enchanted, but maybe that's only because Enchanted was first And we didn't know Disney would do that. We didn't know they would make fun of themselves. That's a funny thing for Disney to do.
It is. It's unexpected from Disney.
Yeah, exactly. We didn't know they even had a sense of humor. Exactly. So that was a bit of a shock and kind of a welcome one. That movie has a cult following, and I think a lot of people dismissed it out of hand at first. Because who was this movie for? It was like a live action fairy tale, goofy, Amy Adams at her goofiest, but also absolutely most endearing. And so now we have the other side of that, where we have this fairy godmother wannabe. She's not fully official, certified, yeah. That's right. But the only way to certify is to help somebody, and it's getting hard to do in this modern age. She does explode a lot of pumpkins. Nothing quite works the way it used to. I don't know if it's those GMOs or what. So I have to admit, guys, that I kind of did love this movie. Although I don't think it's a big significant film. It's super watchable. It's very family friendly. It's just going to be a feel good. It has a warmth to it. Not super terrific, and maybe not even super memorable, but I think a very good night in.
Well, there you go. That's all you need. That's all you're asking for from Disney Plus.
Yeah, and I mean, I think this movie probably, once upon a time could have had a nice release in theaters too. But for a movie on Disney Plus, it's definitely a welcome addition.
Well, good.
Yeah, and I think it is funny enough to even have some rewatchability, which is a nice thing. I think for me, one of the funniest parts was Jillian Bell is not a singer. And, fairy tale people like to break out into song a lot. And so does Eleanor. But that doesn't mean she's any good at it. So there are little things like that you might appreciate. Whatever your personal thing about Disney and the whole Disney universe is, probably you'll find something in there that'll warm your heart a little bit. So that's pretty nice.
That's nice. Mm-hmm. So it's one to watch.
Yeah, it is kind of one to watch. Would you like to be godmothered yourself, Sean?
I think it would be awkward. I have never been godmother.
It would be awkward.
Yeah.
Why would it be awkward?
Well, just a stranger coming to me and, I don't know, singing to me and casting spells that don't actually work or work other than intended.
Okay.
It seems like a bit of an ordeal, to be honest.
Oh, okay. Well, you're thinking about Eleanor, who, as we've said, is just trying to save her school from shutting down.
Okay.
All of the others have come out of the academy just straight A students. Yes, exactly. Like Cinderella's fairy godmother. Wasn't she great?
Yes, I guess she was great. Mm-hmm. She made a carriage out of a pumpkin, etc. Etc.
So you don't think you would like her services?
Sure, I'll take it.
Oh, you're such a pushover, really. Have a backbone, man. Have an opinion.
I did, but it was wrong.
Yeah. It happens a lot around here, I've noticed. Does. Yeah. Anyways, Godmothered is a pretty sweet movie. It is streaming right now on Disney Plus, so why don't you check it out? Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.